great show for you today. Let me get that out of the way. One cough, no more. Could it be? Should it be? Would it be?
I got $10,000 that says I'll take the over on that.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope
So
I have
much
to pay.
pressure on my lungs this morning.
I hope you didn't take the over on Syracuse last night.
Oh, that was early for
I had to take it there.
Listen, Chris Canty's a proud UVA alum. Are you an alum if you didn't graduate? He went there. And
no, I actually did graduate.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I do have a degree.
Congrats to UVA. Congrats to the defending national champs. Got their year off right. Good job. That'll be our college basketball discussion on today's show.
Now let us move on to other things that will actually be discussed in full on today's show. And it started like this. Should it be? Would it be? Could it be? Odell Beckham Jr. might actually be on the trade block. We will discuss. I'm going to cough. I'm just going to do it.
Plus, Patrick Mahomes might be back under center on Sunday. And in the NBA.
Here we go. Two of the best teams squared off last night, just not two of the best players. Not quite my proudest moment opening the show, but the show's open. Hey, we were hoping to see a matchup of Giannis and Kawhi, but with Kawhi sitting out due to load management, it was all Giannis. Truly all Giannis. 38 points. 16 boards, 9 assists, 1 assist shy of a triple-double. Clippers lose by 5. One might think that Kawhi perhaps might have made up that 5-point difference. As for the load management controversy, the NBA released the following statement. Kawhi Leonard is not a healthy player under the league's resting policy, and as such is listed as managing a knee injury in the LA Clippers injury report. The league office, in consultation with the NBA's director of sports medicine, is comfortable with the team medical staff's determination that Leonard is not sufficiently healthy to play in back-to-back games at this time. Now, Doc Rivers was asked about load management before the game. Here's what he had to say.
I'm a fan of basketball as well, you know, not just a coach. And so I feel for that, you know, I understand that. We obviously have to do what's right by our players. You know, we have to. It's our duty. And for a fan, it's really a tough one. And there's no answer. There's no correct answer that I'm going to give you that will satisfy that person that you're talking about.
Nick, what do you think about what Doc had to say?
I understand what Doc's saying. And you are in a tough spot where if you have a player who is unable to play at full strength and you have championship aspirations, do you ask them to play if you feel they're compromised, especially at this point in the season? I get that. What Doc Rivers just told me and what the NBA told me with that statement is Kawhi Leonard on November 7th is a player who's not at full strength. Kawhi Leonard, despite not suffering an injury last year, despite going through the NBA playoffs uninjured last year, came into this season somehow, some way with an injury. That's what they're telling us. Now, is it a chronic injury? Is it that by injury, is it more of a condition and something that this is just the new normal for Kawhi Leonard? He played after playing almost no basketball 2 years ago. He played 3 out of 4 games last year, playing 60 out of 82 in the regular season. And now through 8 games this season, he has played 6 out of 8. That is 3 out of 4 games, 75% of the games. I suppose that is what we should just expect from Kawhi. Unfortunately for Kawhi, that removes him from the discussion of best basketball player alive. Bill Walton, once upon a time, had a claim he was actually the best basketball player alive. Guy couldn't stay healthy. Now, this is not to the Bill Walton level, obviously, but Kawhi Leonard's 28 years old. He's in year 9, and his team desperately needs him. It is as simple as that. The Clippers this year, when Kawhi has played, are 5-1. When he has not, they are 0-2. Paul George has real, legitimate injury concerns. He had shoulder surgery on his left and his right shoulder last year, or this offseason, so he's not available to them yet.
Soon.
And, well, we hope. We hope that he will be back soon, and we hope that when he comes back, he'll actually be able to play. But Canty, I tried to sound the alarm on this last week, and people thought I was trolling Kawhi Leonard when it was not even Halloween, and he was already load managing. We now know that the alarm I was sounding last week is a legitimate one. He is going to be doing this all season long. He will not play in back-to-backs. It would be shocking if he plays 70 games. What that means to others on how they rank him is up to them, I suppose. But it's bad for the Clippers, and obviously it's bad for the fans.
Well, I think it takes him out of the conversation for best player alive during the regular season. Now, that's going to change once we get to April and we're talking about NBA playoffs. And we saw there was no bigger star in the NBA last year in the playoffs than Kawhi Leonard. So the one thing that we don't know is whether or not the medical condition that he's dealing with, the degenerative knee, is something that is indeed a condition as opposed to Kawhi Leonard just needing rest. But the one thing I have to say about that is I have to defer to the player. If the player says that he's uncomfortable doing that and he's uncomfortable playing in back-to-back games, then I don't see how the Clippers or the NBA league office can force Kawhi Leonard to go out there and play. To me, that part of it just doesn't make any sense. Clearly, the Clippers are in a situation that they need him right now. They traded away a lot of their depth to bring back Paul George.
Yep.
No Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, no Danilo Gallinari. So it's going to be a different team if you don't have Kawhi and PG-13. You see it with Kawhi out of the lineup. They have a -9 differential in terms of points in their losses. So I look at it in terms of this. Kawhi Leonard, we know what he's going to be once we get to the postseason. It's just a matter of the Clippers positioning themselves throughout the regular season to make sure that they're one of those top 4 teams in the West. Because I do think it's important in the tougher conference to make sure that you host the
100%.
first round, you have home court advantage.
And I would just real quick follow up on that, Jenna. I would say it's important that you're one of the top 3 teams in the West because there's 5 outstanding teams out West. 2 of them going to have to play each other in that first round. So if you have Lakers, Clippers, Jazz, Nuggets, Rockets, one of those teams is going home after the first round because it'll be the 4-5 matchup. So I would say while we usually, I agree with you, it's top 4, top 3 this year seems extra important.
If there's anything I've learned from being on this set and talking basketball, it's all that matters in the NBA is the postseason and what you do in the postseason. If it was the Warriors and they wanted to take a couple games off across that 82, no problem as long as they get to the postseason. And I would argue that you said the team desperately needs him. I mean, they only lost by 5 points to one of the best teams in the East, if not the best team in the East, with probably the best player in the East. Could something be said for the fact that maybe they do have a deeper team and Paul George will be back soon and they will be able to manage this load management issue, if you will, by...
Yeah, what can be said is they'd have won last night if Kawhi would have played. They wouldn't right now be the 8th seed in the West if Kawhi would have played. And now, fine, this is who Kawhi Leonard is at 28 years old. That's a shame. It's unfortunate. Evidently, that at 26 years old, he had to miss a whole season. At 27 years old, he could only play 60 games. At 28 years old, he's going to be on the same track. But the postseason point's an important one. And I just want to remind America that the idea that with Kawhi Leonard healthy in the playoffs, you're just coast to a championship. In round 2 last year, it took a buzzer beater in Game 7 for Kawhi's team to advance. In round 3 of last year, they were down 2-0 and in double overtime of Game 3 with their season on the line. And in the finals last year, with Kevin Durant having a torn Achilles, with DeMarcus Cousins re-injuring himself, with Klay Thompson popping his knee, it was a 1-point game with 8 seconds left with the ball in Steph Curry's hands in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Those are 3 pivot points, any of which could have ended with the Raptors and Kawhi not being champions. They are now putting all their chips to the table of no one can say a mumbling word if we become champions. The odds are against that working out for them this year. And for the fans, the regular season matters as well. It's why the TV packages are what they are. It's why the season tickets are what they are.
Well, sure, the odds are against them winning the championship, but I understand that this is an uphill climb for the Clippers because they're having to manage their 2 superstars with these injuries. But at the same time, the point that you made about the close games that were played in the Eastern Conference playoffs last year, I mean, that just speaks to why the Clippers want to manage Kawhi during the regular season, because they want him at his best when it matters the most. And for the individual player, I think that all of the guys that are in the conversation for best players alive right now recognize that they have to have longevity and they have to have jewelry in order to be considered one of the people that should be in the pantheon of basketball when their careers are over with. So I understand what Kawhi Leonard is doing. He's trying to set himself up to be in that conversation for one of the best to have ever done it. I get it. But in order to do that, he's got to be healthy. He's got to have enough gas in the tank. Once we get to the postseason, I don't have a problem with what Doc Rivers and the Clippers are doing right now with Kawhi.
Unfortunately, that's no solace for fans of this team and for basketball that would obviously love to see.
Well, the Clippers fans will be upset right now. They won't be upset when